So have y'all heard about
TikTok for that one reason? I thought TikTok was just TikTok challenges, and a year later, I was like, oh shit, black people on here?
Yeah.
Don't do the challenge.
So y'all heard about all this stuff going on with Blac Chyna, right? So she found God and all of that. So the next one, we're talking about Blac Chyna, y'all. So Blac Chyna explains why she wants to be referred to as Angela White. I guess she's born again or something. Let me go ahead and get that clip ready. Stay tuned.
Are you Angela White?
Angela White.
You are Angela White.
Yes, ma'am.
So why are you choosing that name?
Well, it was given to me by birth. But mostly just for me, it's like getting back to myself because, you know, being in the entertainment like field, everybody always calls me like, hey, Blac Chyna, Chyna. Nobody never really calls me Angela. So sometimes I would kind of like forget like who I am because it's always like about the brand, but not about the person.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get this one started with Bruiser. What are your thoughts on it? Blac Chyna explains why she wants to be referred to as Angela White.
I think it resembles a lot of women who finally hit a point in their life and realize that they actually got to get back to who their natural state, you know, their mind and body, spirit, emotionally, physically. I think it's a good thing for her, but it's a bad thing for the people who were inspired to the way she been carrying herself over the course of years. It's almost like following someone who's preaching or pushing some type of ideology, and all of a sudden they become inconsistent and pivot into something else. It's like you can't trust them anymore. But that should be a wake-up call for the women who look at these people as inspiration, to know that these people that are actually inspiring you are not cut out to, are not actually what they appear to be. So that's all. That's the only thing I can say to it for now.
All right, let's get a lady's perspective. Lady Chan, what you got on it?
I'm seeing it with what's the other girl's name? That other girl, the one that said she was Fetty Wap's baby mother, and in the end that she wasn't.
Brittany Renner?
Alexis Scott.
Alexis Sky. You lot may not like this, but at the end of the day, when all these chicks are like, they've been ran through, so now they want to turn to God. Like, why wasn't God there in the forefront in the first place? Now you want to turn to God because you've got no other. And then there's another aspect. You should always be able to turn to God. But I'm noticing that the ran through ones, they now want to turn to God because there's no other options for them. Like, everybody's Adam. It's not gone their way now. The world's changed. Men are looking at women differently. They're selecting better. Women are coming up in a different way to be selected. You know, they're not cool anymore. That looks not cool.
All right, Fantasy Island. What do you think? Blac Chyna.
I think we've seen this before, so we expect them to all turn a leaf eventually. So I wasn't surprised when she decided to turn to Angela. I thought it was logical for her to go back to her real name, go back to who she is, try it over again. But I think it's really interesting that we have this take on women. So the only thing women can really do to lose their feminine or womanliness is to be a 304. But men can kill and steal and destroy, and they can always go back to God. But women, once you go 304, we don't want you no more. And I think that's really interesting that we can do something physical that's not harming others and be cast away. Whereas men, we're supposed to forgive them no matter what they do. If they go and turn their lives over to God, even so with the guy that murdered his wife and he ended up in the church and the pastor vouched for him to marry his daughter. And then he killed her kid. Like, there is so much grace for men, and I feel like the grace should be extended for 304s. That's where I'm at with it.
Why do you put so much emphasis on kill, steal, and destroy as if it only applies to a man?
Well, because you guys are the biggest offenders. 304 doesn't apply to only women. There are some male ones, but we are considered the biggest offenders. Like, if we do it, it's terrible. Women don't usually kill people.
So Fantasy Island, got a question for you. Follow up. Do you think that grace that you're talking about that applies to men applies to black men?
To go back to church, yes. I feel like they accept everybody back in the church, no matter what they did and who they did it to. They allow everybody to come back to the church. So if the men can come back to the church by any means, the 304s can be right there too.
I gotta
Well,
go out to her,
it's no
bro.
secret that black men aren't in the church anymore. So in America at large, do you think
Say that
society
again,
gives?
Trigger Mike. You said something about black men not being. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, black men, as far as this generation is concerned, are absent in droves from the church in the numbers we used to be. I mean, I think it's just pretty indicative that when the family went, the church, black men disappeared from the church. So the
Hold on,
absence
wait,
of men in the home means absence of men in the church.
hold on,
I
wait a minute.
put those two things together. Now,
Wait a minute.
do you think outside of the church and society in general, black men get that same grace you're talking about, Fantasy Island?
No.
Okay.
Who gives a good goddamn about the church when we can't get a job?
It's her response, so it's her answer.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily responding to her. I was just saying, like, who
Because they were
gives?
saying, "Oh, now you want to go back to the church," you know?
Yeah,
And I was
like,
like, "Well, why can't they go back to the church?"
because I think what's more pressing is the fact that the guys that you just described, even if they are born again, mind you, they had to go through jail first, and they had to sit their ass down first. They get out and they serve their sentence, and they still can't find a job. As a matter of fact, they still can't vote. So
Have we gone
I
off
don't.
topic a little bit with
No,
because it's supposed to be for the women?
she kind of spoke. She brought it up, so I just wanted to address it. Is that in this particular situation, no, men aren't given that type of grace, because once you leave, especially those type of men, not necessarily men, but them men, they don't get that type of grace. They can't even find a job.
Okay, what do you think about Blac Chyna's situation?
Oh, I was gonna let So Lucky go. I just want to respond.
Yeah,
to that.
yeah.
All right, go ahead, Lucky. Get in there.
I think that is just very interesting, and I think it's delicate and brave for people in general to come out and admit when they should make a turn in their life. I just think I always wonder why people critique people's personal relationship with God. Like, we sit up here and we slap in the Bible scriptures anytime we see fit, but we sit up here and we're going to judge her because of her past. That these are the prime people that God has always used for a testimony. He doesn't use no perfect person because everybody is not perfect. Now, I'm not defending the fact that she had a history, clearly, but she also has the right to change her life around. I don't know where it's going to take her, but if it's never too late. She has kids. We can all say what people should have did when they should have did it. The same way if somebody started putting your life on display and all your choices, they'll say what you should have did and how you should have did it. So it's like, if she wants to be called Angela White and get all those fillers out and all that and change her life for whatever her walk is, every walk doesn't have to say, I'm doing all this for a man. Something is a personal journey for people.